folks. Welcome to This Week in History with Mike and Will. I'm Mike.
I'm Will.
And look, we have a special guest today.
This is Erica.
I'm Erica.
Erica has been our fan for a while and a friend. Both. And she wanted to be on the show because she's happy about this thing in history. So you're talking about it today?
I don't know if she's happy about it, but she was excited about it. And I was like, nobody can tell this better than her.
There are no emotions attached to
There are
this. Either way, same rules apply. Erica has 1 hour to explain to me this moment in history, and then
I'm a fast talker, but I am long-winded.
Well, you've got 1 hour regardless. So she'll explain that to us, and then next week we'll be discussing a different thing in history. But this week we're discussing Mutiny on the Bounty,
Dun, 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 dun.
which I only know of as a movie
It was inspired by actual events.
that I've not seen. So I don't know anything.
Well, here
It's
we
about
go.
a boat. So Erica, are you ready?
Yeah.
You got 1 hour.
Okay.
And
Pause.
oh, come on.
Today our coffee is brought to you by Crystal Coffee. We're back to the old coffee sponsor story.
Crystal Coffee, a local coffee.
Local coffee.
Coffee?
That he said it.
And you picked up on it. It's a trend.
I like it. It's a trend now. We made it a trend. Now we all three have said coffery, so that's where we're going to go from now.
Coffery.
It's a coffery. Yay. Thank you, Crystal Coffee.
This
Even though I paid for it.
This all should have counted against the hour.
There we go.
Anyway, are we good?
We're good.
Fletcher Christian was a guy.
Good.
He was born in England in September 25th, 1764. That makes him a Libra.
Okay.
Okay. He was born into a noble family. His father was a lawyer and a wealthy landowner. His mother also came from long old money.
So they all have overbites.
Sure.
Yep.
They're all...
Yep.
I suddenly, I'm sorry to already derail, but I suddenly remember my other reference to the Mutiny and Bounty that I know is from Bugs Bunny. Mr. Christian.
Yes. There was
a really funny Kids in the Hall sketch about Fletcher Christian, but I
just
digress.
picture a very angry Anthony Hopkins.
I don't think he was in the movie.
He was in The Bounty.
Oh, all right.
It wasn't called The
actual-
Mutiny on the Bounty. It was just called The Bounty, and it was Mel Gibson and Anthony Hopkins was
Oh,
the
that's the
captain.
1984 one that I have not seen. I've seen the Errol Flynn one.
Oh,
but-
that's probably way more romantic and fun.
Yeah.
This one's a lot more peely sunburn.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
this one. No, the Errol Flynn one was a lot more swashbuckly.
Because Errol Flynn was a swashbuckler.
Yeah.
I think in real life.
Anyway,
He didn't fight that guy.
Fletcher Christian.
Christian's mother's family was super old money. They ran around in the same circles as Robert the Bruce,
Oh!
which is interesting.
Who's Robert the Bruce?
He
Robert the
was
Bruce? He's
the-
the
Scottish.
first king of Scotland. Well,
Yeah.
not the first, but the first after a while king of
He
Scotland.
was kind of allied with William Wallace.
Okay.
Irrelevant. Anyway, that just goes to show how well established this family is. Okay.
From England, Scotland? From England?
Yeah.
England? Okay.
But somehow tied to Scotland.
Yeah.
Right.
As well.
Because this family, they were not living in England. They were living on the Isle of Man, which is an independently governed island right between England and Ireland.
Okay.
Just a little bitty. Anyway.
Groovy.
Anyway.
Yep. Makes sense. See look how much information she has.
I know. So, Fletcher has 2 older brothers, Charles and Edward. They've got mom, they've got dad. They're living on their wonderful, tracts of land, blah, blah, blah.
Big
and then,
estate.
father dies when Fletcher was 4 years old.
Oh.
I know.
That's a pretty common thing at the time.
To just catch a case of death.
Yeah,
Just
death's going around today, folks. Just
Okay.
He had a cold. He stubbed his toe, and he hurt his finger, and they're all dead.
And that's
Thank
it.
God for modern medicine.
So, Anne, the mom, being a woman, did not know how to handle her money responsibly.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Wow. I would like to point out
17.
that Mike and I always fight the patriarchy, and then we have a female
More
guest, and she
patriarchy.
comes on, and she's just like, well, women can't handle money.
No, in the time where we are, in the place where we are, where we've got Anne living as a single mother on her family's estate, and no men around.
And
other
she's
than
probably
her
not
children.
taught to run
Right,
it anyway.
like she
Yeah.
just didn't have the knowledge. So anyway, money's gone.
Yep.
She squanders everything.
Oh.
She's
She was used to a certain standard of living,
Yeah.
and then didn't alter it when
correct.
she wasn't earning
Didn't
the
learn
same
how to
income.
budget for her current circumstances.
And the 4-year-old was no help.
Or the 4-year-old's 2 older brothers,
Who were
slightly older.
slightly older. So the 4, 5, and 6-year-olds
Maybe
were not useful.
something like
Okay.
that. Anyway,
Not old enough to make a difference.
right?
Gotcha.
Not job time yet for them. Anyway, so the debt collectors came calling. And she said, well, shoot, I gotta go. Come on, kids. And she packed up the bags and she left England and back to Isle of Man.
Oh.
Okay, because England can't catch him there.
Do they still have holdings on the Isle of Man?
The English creditors can't go after them there.
Oh, so they're just like refugees
Yep.
there. They don't have any like
They're
housing
on
or anything like
Anne
that.
Dixon's family property on the Isle of Man.
Okay.
English creditors can't go get them. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was just wondering if like they had like a little estate, a little family
Yeah.
farm or something back home.
like that's Anne's family's.
Okay, that's her. Okay, so Anne is the mom.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry.
tracking now. Okay. No.
So
I'm tracking. I got it now.
the kids are growing up there. Fletcher Christian is growing up there, and he gets to be like 16, 17, and his mom's family is like, where's the money? Like, now you're old enough to get a job.
Go get a job.
You gotta go. And so Fletcher and his brothers each decided, you know what, this place sucks. I don't know anybody from Isle of Man. I'm sure it's lovely.
It's gorgeous, but I don't think there's much to do.
It's very small.
Island.
It's little.
It's little.
And it's in the middle of nothing. So they said, we gotta go. We're gonna go be sailors. We're gonna join the Royal Navy.
Ooh.
We're going to sail the open seas and make our fortune that way. So Fletcher goes
that was a
back
good whistle, Mike.
to
Thank you.
England,
Yep.
and he finds a ship that's willing to take him on as a cabin boy. Being a 17-year-old cabin boy, though, was like
That's
extremely
old,
unheard
right?
of. Right. Most cabin boys are like 12.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he comes in bottom of the ladder as a 17-year-old like
To the
chamber pot scrubber.
They don't change the outfit. It's
the little breeches are up to his thighs.
hi, I'm the cabin.
Yeah.
Is it tight?
It's got like a midriff shirt. His jacket's a vest. His vest is like this long.
He's got chest hairs.
Yep.
Probably. Anyway, so he says, this is no place for a 17-year-old me.
Imagine.
I think that's mine. That's fine. You can have it. You paid for it. It's okay.
I think I've been drinking yours.
Well, that's okay. Anyway,
You want mine?
what is yours?
It is a chai charger.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's
Okay.
delicious. This is good too.
I don't
Doesn't
have
taste
any
at all like a
COVIDs.
chai charger. I'm all
this is
done.
good. Right. So he says, well, this is not great. I appreciate this jump start of my career being a cabin boy on this ship, but not ideal.
Yeah.
I would like to be a little higher on the ladder.
Maybe just
right?
a sailor, the
Just
rope
a regular-
holder, something.
Like,
Did
I
he-
want to sit in the crow's nest.
But
Yep.
did he know? He didn't know anything about sailing before.
No,
All right, so-
but he had a family friend named William Bligh. William Bligh was a famous Royal Navy lieutenant, not a captain. He was a lieutenant.
Lieutenant.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was... sailing was in William Bligh's blood from birth. His father was a customs officer in a port.
Oh.
And
Let's
then...
see.
So he just grew up on the docks.
Yeah,
Like,
but then when he was 5, or 7,
he became
he
a
was
cabin
7.
boy.
No, he was taken on as there's a term for it, as a young gentleman. So these ships would take on these little boys of privilege to work on the ship and pad their
Mike.
resume.
No, none of this sounds.
But they kind of learn how to captain stuff.
Sure,
and
sure.
how
So they
officer
get
life works.
they get the
Because-
life experience, they get the rank, they get everything starting from like 7 years old.
Because my understanding of it is, if you could move up from nothing to captaincy, but for the most part, it was held by the gentry. So, like, if you were
Yeah.
nobility,
I mean, it's
you
Royal
got
Navy,
you got
so-
put into these positions of power. So lords were captains,
Yeah.
and if you weren't a lord, you were maybe a bosun kind of a thing was the height you could get to. But did they have many like actual like peasant class captains? Was
I
that
don't
even a thing?
I don't know.
I'm gonna
That's a good
Google
question. Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna you keep going. I'm
Okay,
gonna Google it.
Sir William Bligh.
Gets Fletcher to be a young gentleman.
Hang on. He starts out his sailing career at 7 years old. By the time he is 21, he's already been on like 3 or 4 different ships, and has done multiple voyages on each of these ships.
Okay.
When he was 20 or 21, he was hired by Captain Cook.
Ooh. Heard of him?
Like the
Like
famous
yeah,
explorer.
the guy with the
he
islands.
Yeah.
And so that's where he got his experience sailing around the South Pacific and South Asia. Was with Captain Cook.
Plus, his cereal is delicious. Captain Crunch. I'm sorry. Go on.
So when Captain Cook was offed,
I don't know how he died.
William Bligh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, he was
Wasn't he killed by natives?
Yes. They did not care for him at all.
Because he did not good things, probably.
He showed up and tried to take over and tried to...
Did he try to Cortez them?
He did. And the natives were like, no, we don't really do that here. So they killed him.
Nice.
And William Bligh was the guy who took charge of Captain Cook's ship and rescued all of his other crewmates and took them back to England.
I have to point out, it's amazing. I just asked Google if could only nobles be officers in the Royal Navy, and it immediately talks about aristocratic boys being taken on as young gentlemen, and literally Captain Cook. Right
weird.
there.
How
That's
about
weird.
that?
Top 2 things. I'm done Googling. Keep going.
Okay.
This is fascinating me.
So
William Bligh was the
William
guy.
Bligh is now a famous, well-respected lieutenant in the Royal Navy.
Okay.
And he's family friends with the Christians, with the Christian family. So Fletcher Christian writes him a letter, says, listen, I am just a little peasant boy of 17 years, and I would like to be something else.
He's like, you're an adult.
William Bligh says, you got it. You can come on my ship with me. Problem, I don't have a ship. But once I get one, you and me are going to be ship buddies.
Well, that sounds like a great job opportunity.
So they're friends.
Or
at least family friends? Did they know each other well?
Acquaintances.
Okay.
Like, hey, your uncle has this job for you, kind of a handshake situation.
Yep, gotcha.
So, he's on the crew, officially. There's no ship yet.
Okay. What does a crew do without a ship?
Just wait. They just hang out at port and wait.
Okay.
I imagine lots of drinking. Sailors. I've met enough sailors. They're just drunk.
They just,
If they're not sailing, they're drunk.
Carry on.
It's true. My whole family is Navy people,
they're just drunks.
Anyway.
When we were in Iraq, sober. When we got home, drunk. Because we had Navy guys with us in Iraq. Because apparently the Army doesn't... No, but they're really good at commo, the communications gear. So we had a whole detachment of 12 of them.
Okay.
And those guys know how to go to war way better than we do. Because they brought PlayStations and projectors and all kinds of stuff. And we're like, are we moving in? And they're like, well, we're not deploying if it's not comfortable. They had a totally different approach. And we're like,
interesting.
That's a really good idea. Why didn't we
Army
think
people
of
get
that?
put on a base, the Army goes to, you can go to Oklahoma, you can go to Missouri, you can, and then the Navy is like, you can go to, how's Honolulu sound? How does Guam sound?
There's a tiny detachment, I think, for the U.S. Army in Hawaii, but it's little. It's mostly Navy Marines and all that jazz. And they go to San Diego, the most beautiful places in the world, and we're like, go to Fort Sill, and there are no nice Army bases. I've not been to one. Not one.
All right, sorry.
We're getting there, Mike.
Fort Jackson in South Carolina, when I went there to visit my sister.
I hated that place.
Oh, well,
but that's where I went to basic training, so that's probably why I didn't
my
like
sister
it
went to basic through... Anyway,
Anyway.
sorry.
All right, so we'll talk about this afterwards.
It's your time.
So he's waiting for a ship.
Who?
Fletcher Christian. Both of them are. But Fletcher Christian is waiting at a tavern.
Oh.
I told you! Drunk!
And then his brother shows up. His brother has been on another ship.
Hey. He got a ship. Did he get a job?
No, brother. The other brother.
Yeah.
He has got 2 brothers. They're both sailors.
Yeah, they're all sailing.
They're all sailing. He was on the Middlesex out in the West Indies. Okay. And he says, hey, I thought you were on this other ship somewhere else. And the brother...
Part of the 3 ships, the good sex and bad sex. This was the Middlesex.
It was fine.
But what
it was fine sex.
What
I was saying was he was more than a cabin boy.
Yeah, he was like a sailor.
Okay.
So anyway, Fletcher says, I thought you weren't you just on a boat? I thought you were gone. He's like, oh, we mutinied. You wouldn't believe this. We just mutinied, and it was great.
It was
fun.
fun.
Fletcher's like, tell me more.
Why is he back in Britain if he mutinied? That's like a death penalty crime.
Yeah, he was just hanging out. I don't really know. I'm not... I looked for more
Perhaps
on this,
he did.
and it was kind of scant details.
Perhaps he didn't say it as cavalierly at the bar.
Sure.
Also, maybe it was because if it was like a legitimate mutiny, like the officer was like just murdering people, they might have been like, we're not going to talk about this ever again, and you are all pardoned.
Could be.
Maybe. I'm going to pretend that's what happened.
Anyway.
The mutiny before the bounty.
So this plants the seed in his head of a mutiny is a possibility.
Yeah.
It's no longer an abstract concept. Now my brother has experience with this.
Almost first-hand knowledge,
But For Fletcher, who is he's charismatic, he's very genteel, even though he left his noble upbringing at a young age, it's still kind of ingrained in him because of his family.
Sure.
So he's like,
I would think most people are not by nature mutinous.
No. And we will learn what events transpired to cause that change. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he knows it's a possibility, but it's kind of back of his mind. Like, no. William Bligh is my father figure. He is a good man. I could never do anything to upend his career.
Perfect.
I won't.
I shan't.
I
shan't do it.
So he is hanging out at the tavern some more. The William Bligh does find a ship. It used to be a coal ship, and they refitted it and turned it into a bounty. The bounty. And their mission was this. Hang on. So, following the American Revolution, the English economy tanked, went down the toilet.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Losers.
Yep.
Plus war with France at the same time, and everything else.
That was the other part, too. Like, anytime they tried to leave anywhere, France was like, no, sir.
Shoot you with our ships and our cannons, you stupid English
Yep, and the English would be like, oh, never mind. And they would go
back to port.
So
we can't leave. Why? The French keep shooting us whenever we try.
Oh, dash.
Stay in the boat.
During this time, when the English economy is tanking, they have slaves out in the West Indies on sugar plantations, like down by Jamaica and the Caribbean.
Yeah, sure, that's where you keep them.
They are a horrible drain on resources.
Slaves?
Yeah.
Slavery is not cost effective.
They need to feed them and
and since they can't
since
they can't sell the sugar cane because the French keep sinking everything, it's just
So
is that why they free? Well, they already freed the slaves.
So they have to find a way to feed these slaves in the West Indies. Mm-hmm. They can't continue funneling money that way because they're draining their own money. Mm. So this botanist in England named James Banks says, I have this idea. In Tahiti, there's this tree called the breadfruit tree. And if you transplant the breadfruit trees to the West Indies, you take the breadfruit from here and you move it over here. It's a Patrick Star thing, sorry. From SpongeBob.
Oh, okay.
And the King of England is like,
breadfruit trees.
Great.
Feed the
Do
slaves.
it. Find a way to move the breadfruit trees from Tahiti to the Caribbean. Just do it. Make it happen. Make it so. So
that one I understood. That's.
Do either of you know how breadfruit tastes?
Yes.
Like
it tastes like fresh baked bread.
Oh, is that what they called it?
Yeah.
What is the texture though?
It's fibrous, like a potato. It's actually one of the original superfruits, like the acai berry and stuff.
Yeah.
Breadfruit was like the first one that kind of people were like, this is a really cool thing that does many things. It was very starchy. It was full of carbs, full of vitamins, full of minerals.
Why is that not caught on as a...
Why is that not a thing?
Yeah.
Especially in Wisconsin where because we love bread. The bread industry killed the breadfruit tree.
That could
be.
be.
No.
I can't deep fry this.
So I have two quick comments.
I think we could deep fry it.
Do you think during the time period where France didn't let England leave England, they called the English Channel the French Channel just out of spite?
Just out of spite.
They're like, this is the French Channel now, we take it back for France. And also, I looked up the Middlesex Mutiny. Yeah. And what had happened was the mutiny was suppressed. Like, it wasn't fully successful.
Okay.
But when they got back, there were these court battles. And Rogers was actually fined 500 pounds by the court for something. They didn't really say what. They kind of kept it quiet. So my idea is maybe right that he was a bad guy. And then there were civil fines afterwards where the officers were found to be correct in like their mutiny, and they all got like 3,000 pounds total.
Wow,
and
okay.
Fletcher's brother was a surgeon. He was one of the officers.
Yes, I did see that. He was an MD. He had an MD suffix.
So he's actually like a man of...
So he might
he's
not
accomplished some stuff.
He might not have been an active participant in the bounty. Maybe he was just there putting Band-Aids on people.
It says he supported it, but yeah, it's not like... They didn't say whether he shot it.
He wasn't shooting
But it was
any
suppressed,
guns.
So the guy obviously must have talked his way out of it, or it wasn't popular. Or he was like, you'll all hang, and they're like, okay, maybe we won't go do this.
Never mind.
We don't want to hang. So, yeah, but yeah, it says that Roberts was the officer, or Rogers, Captain Rogers, and he was apparently kind of a jerk. And he got, like, suspended for a while from being a captain. Like, the relative was like, no captaining for a while after the mutiny. Oh. And then they let him back in eventually. So it's really weird. Like, I want to know more about this because that's really fascinating.
Yeah, mutinies are fascinating. Anyway, so
the mutiny
breadfruit.
Before the breadfruit. Breadfruit and Tahiti.
Breadfruit, great superfood. Great superfood.
Did you write
it's also
this
very
down in
hardy.
your notes? Okay, let's try.
Is that allowed to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We had the screensaver kick on, folks. That's why she asked if that's allowed to do that.
So breadfruit is very hardy. Okay. So you can transplant it easily. It's low maintenance, super nutritious. All of these wonderful things needed to keep your slaves alive and keep your economy going.
Yeah, nice.
Allegedly. So.
I mean, if you can just pull the food off the tree and get a loaf of
the other
bread,
thing with that, one breadfruit tree can produce up to 450 pounds of fruit per season.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
What else does that? I'm thinking like...
I don't know.
Pineapple's not a... That doesn't come from a tree, right? That's like kind of a ground fruit, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Coconut just by weight? I'm just thinking about mass. Like it's just... It's a really big tree fruit. So 450 pounds... Why is that not a thing?
I don't know.
That could solve world hunger. Just here.
It could, as long as everybody's cool with breadfruit.
I mean, if you don't have food, or you could have breadfruit. Like, I'm not eating today. Famine's fine.
I don't know.
We like potatoes. We like bread.
Yeah, it sounds like a fruity potato, sort of. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
If it tastes like fresh bread, I want it.
Is like, how do we do this? How do we get the fruit from point A to point B? Mm-hmm. Who in our Navy knows a lot about navigating the South Pacific and navigating treacherous waters and knows how to avoid conflict with the natives?
Captain
what about that?
Captain Cook would have been great.
He would have been
dead.
Oh, shoot.
Who took over for him?
Oh, what about that William Bligh fella? That guy that took over for him and rescued everybody and from being murdered and got them back home. How about
He's a capable fellow.
I would say Captain Cook was not good.
No. Yeah, I mean, like, well, if we just needed to say we would have gone with Captain Cook. If we go with, but can also be murdered by natives, then Captain Cook's right. If not, doesn't matter. He's dead. Right. So we thought he was good at it.
William Bligh
gets called up to man the bounty. Captain Bligh gets his crew together, including Fletcher. He says, "Boys, gotta go. We gotta go to Tahiti."
Is that being what is that? Your ship is enlisted? What's the word for that? Or
commissioned?
Commissioned. Yeah. All right.
So he's got his commission. All right. Fletcher.
It's exciting for him because he's got a promotion now.
Yeah. Leading up to this, everybody in the Navy that had worked under Captain Bligh had started this not a rumor because it was true. It was now commonly known that Captain Bligh was an asshole, just a jerk, just tyrant, horrible to work for, not very nice, not very sympathetic to his crew, just a nasty guy all around.
Great.
Hair trigger temper.
Oh no.
Yep. I mean, in his defense,
I feel like this is going to go well. With the brother of a mutineer being told mutiny's fine, and apparently a raging dick. And the British Navy was famous for its officers being savage to its employees. They whipped them for casual offenses. They beat them. That's why piracy was so popular for so long. Is because
there's a bunch of well-trained sailors who were sick of
being treated like garbage. Yeah, because there was no rule. There was just the captain's law, and they were just brutal.
In their defense, you guys want to try to run an operation on a boat for months at a time?
No, that's why I'm not one of those people.
With drunken men and no women? Boy, that sounds like a fun trip.
We're going to get to that.
Okay, good.
So,
the women and the drunkenness.
The Captain Bligh is a horrible human being, but his second in command, Fletcher Christian,
is a good guy.
Is a nice guy. Everybody likes him. Everybody talks about how nice and charismatic he is.
Oh god, a charismatic second and a dick boss. Yeah. This is gonna go real well.
Yeah. Captain Bligh is a Virgo, so everything is his way or the highway. Libras are air signs. They're kind of more easy breezy, go with the flow. Anyway, whatever.
I feel like I know who does the mutiny on the Bounty.
I want to do a quick side note for our history thing. That horoscopes may or may not factor in
anything.
But maybe.
I think they might. Sure. I don't know.
That's the thing. We are just history people. She's a horoscope people.
Horoscope people.
You can come in and do a horoscope
history
episode.
People.
She's finding a way to make it jive.
So, they're on the ship.
Yep.
All of the crewmen are talking to Fletcher about, this guy's kind of an asshole. Can you do something about this?
They lift the gangplank and he's just like, from now on, beatings will continue morning, noon, and night. Morale doesn't matter.
Fletcher says, "Oh, come on, he's not that bad, guys. Come on, buck up,
Come on, chums.
Come on, chums. We're going to Tahiti. We'll just get this one job done. Come on, guys." And okay, Fletcher, if you say so. So anyway, they're sailing to Tahiti. They go around Cape Horn, around the south part of Africa, and Captain Bligh just being his normal jerky self. He accused, probably, he accused his crewmen of stealing cheese from their stores.
Oh.
And just unfounded. Who's been stealing the
there's
cheese?
Been missing cheese.
And one of the sailors said, "Sir, don't you remember you had us move some of the cheese to your wife's house before we left?" And he goes, "Didn't happen," and he starts beating them. So
I knew he was going to start beating people.
Right.
So he stole cheese from the ship stores
and then
to bring
blamed
to
it,
his wife,
and then
blamed them. I bet I know this guy's religion. Sorry, I'm not supposed to do religion commentary, but
probably Christian.
Christian.
Yeah, probably Christian.
Oh,
usually,
yeah. I mean,
usually the guys who pretend to be the most upright and righteous of the Christian folk are the ones breaking all the rules, because you don't tell everybody how religious
Other than
you
the
are.
guy's last name, I don't think religion plays a huge part in this, honestly.
Oh.
Not directly. Anyway,
okay. I just figured that Bligh would be a man of God.
They finally get to Tahiti. Do I have the date written down anywhere? I did. October 25th, 1788. They've been sailing for 10 months. They get to
with this jerk.
With this guy. Can't leave. Where are you gonna go?
Yeah. Down. You just think.
You just go.
I'm not doing this.
So they landed in Tahiti. You can't, and with the breadfruit, they can't just pick the fruit and take it, right? Because now they've got to get it to the Caribbean.
Rot.
They have to plant it, get the starters going.
Oh,
and
yeah.
cultivate
you
them.
can't take a full tree.
Right, you can't take the tree. You
So
can't
they're
take the
just
fruits.
bringing
They've got
seeds?
No,
Just seeds?
no, they have to
little
plant
sprouts.
Yeah, but they have to start them first. So they have to wait. They all get off the ship.
They plant some
stuff, and then they hang out on Tahiti.
Hanging out on Tahiti sounds like hell.
Right.
Yes.
For 5 months.
Oof.
So, oof.
It's probably
and then they're get back on the boat.
Okay, so these downtrodden, beaten, harassed, harangued sailors who hate their job and they hate their boss, they are being paid by the Royal Navy to hang out on Tahiti and just grow plants.
Which, for those of you who don't know, Tahiti's paradise.
Yeah.
It's considered paradise.
Like a stereotypical
white
paradise.
Beaches, and it's the clear
other thing,
water,
too,
and it's perfect weather
the
all
natives
the time.
there that they were kind of concerned about loved them, welcomed them, gave them their women.
So 10 months with horrible boss, and now you're on paradise with the most just
beautiful, welcoming,
food that's
social
constant, and beautiful, wonderful local people who want you to be with their
women. Yep. Guys that live there are friendly and show them how to cultivate these crops and show them that sounds great.
Yeah. There's no way this could go bad.
Fletcher Christian.
So next week on This Week in History, there's more?
There's
more. Oh, no. I thought it was a happy ending.
Yeah,
most of the crewmen live on the ship. That's just where their beds are, so that's where they go to sleep at night. Fletcher Christian makes his way into the village and is living in the village. He gets tattooed.
You know
in he learns the language. He gets tattooed by
because everybody liked him already in England.
Yeah,
so
yeah, he was a nice guy.
He's the most popular guy in Tahiti now.
So now, 5 months later, plants are ready to go.
Some of these guys are probably starting families at this point.
They're married. They've taken wives.
I'm sure that went over really well with the captain.
Yeah, I don't know.
How dare you
sure
get married?
In on it,
Yeah,
whatever.
he probably had a second wife.
Probably. So Captain Bligh says, we gotta go. We got these plants. We gotta take them to.
He's got his own hourglass.
He's been turning it every day.
And everybody is like, oh, come on, no. Nope, we gotta go.
Can we stay a little longer?
No. You can't. You gotta get on the boat.
But my kids are starting school.
So everybody rounds up their crew members. They get back on the ship. They get their breadfruit plants back on the ship. They say goodbye to their grieving wives who were left behind.
Can't bring the wives along?
They can't bring their wives.
You can't have women on the ship, because then all you'll do is them.
That's it. You're not going to scrub the poop deck or whatever else needs to get done.
I'll use whatever euphemism I want.
I forgot something. It's just a minor thing.
Okay.
Before they got back on the ship, there was 3 guys from the Bounty who said, forget this. If he can't find us, we can't get on the ship. So they take their own ship, one of the lifeboats, and they tried to get away.
Oh.
And Captain Bligh finds them, and he drags them back to camp himself, and he flogs them in front of everybody and says, "This is what you get for disobeying orders." Blah, 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 blah. And the plan was to scare everybody else into submission, but it just solidified.
It just made them madder.
It just solidified the resentment, just made them angry.
Yeah, it's almost like corporal punishment doesn't work.
What? So
it worked on the boat.
Because there was nowhere else to go.
Right, I know.
So they're all back on the boat now. They're all sailing.
Singing jaunty,
but they don't get very far.
songs.
I don't feel like they get jaunty songs.
They got back on the boat on April 4th, 1789.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So April 23rd, a couple weeks later, they get to the island of Tonga. They have to make a resupply pit stop, like get some firewood and whatever else they can find on Tonga.
Are they going the long way around?
Where's Tonga, yeah?
It's nearby. I don't know.
Tongan Republic, I think it's in Southeast Asia.
Takes to go 3 weeks.
It's in that same Polynesian island chain.
For some reason, I always thought Tahiti was near the Caribbean.
No, not at all. Tahiti is like American Samoa.
It might be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You might think that because they got the breadfruit.
Yeah, they're just showing me pictures of the Tongan Republic.
Did they get breadfruit from the?
Oh yeah,
Caribbean?
it's way down there,
east of Australia.
Yep,
by quite a chunk.
Yep.
Right.
So they go to Tonga, and they get on the beach. And they say, "Here we are, gonna get some supplies." And the natives of Tonga said, "No, you're not. You are not getting our supplies."
Not
and they
the same
chase
natives.
them off. And they threaten to kill them. And they say, "Oh no, never mind. We're good. We don't need any supplies."
They didn't send Fletcher in first.
Well, Fletcher was in charge of this mission.
I know. Everyone loves Christian. Go on, get out there. You talk to
friends.
him.
Well, he tried, I guess. He led
Probably
his
isn't
friends
loved all
onto the
over the
beach.
world.
The Tongans chased them back onto the boat, and Captain Bligh was like, "Why are you back? Where is the stuff? I sent you to get the stuff." And Fletcher Christian said, "They tried to kill us. They had spears. They were gonna like."
It's got to be a new experience for him too. I don't know, man. I did the thing I do.
I'm a nice guy.
Yeah. This is the first time being charming hasn't worked out for me in my entire life.
So, Captain Bligh said,
"Was Captain Cook there first?" And they're just
Maybe.
like, "No, this guy
hey, we
sucks.
know that
The
guy."
next time we see anybody in a boat like this that looks like you, dead." Although also could just be xenophobic and not want. Or maybe there is an underground information network of every time white people show up on our land,
maybe, I don't know.
we all die.
It's possible.
The past 300 years this has been going
And
on.
The islands are kind of in the middle of nowhere, but they're also close enough where you could canoe
they
from place to
canoed
place.
all over the place. So
And
maybe
it just didn't happen in Tahiti. Like the news didn't get there.
Maybe.
maybe they were like, maybe these guys will be different. That
give 'em a try.
Christian guy
I
seems
could
nice.
fix them.
I could fix it.
It's the precursor to the abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I can fix him though. And Bligh's just beating the hell out of all of
He's
them.
a nice guy.
Shut up! Don't talk about me to the neighbors.
Bingo, exactly.
Yep.
So Captain Bligh says, "Where's the stuff? Why are you back?" And Fletcher Christian said they were mean. They tried to kill us.
They tried to murder us.
And Captain Bligh said,
he's just like, "Do you see the arrow in my back and the one in my front? I got this one first. I turned around, they shot me here too. If you're not dead, you could still have gotten it done."
Yeah.
Great.
So
Okay.
Captain Bligh said, "Why didn't you shoot them? You have guns." And Fletcher Christian said, "You told me not to.
Oh.
You told me not to use the guns."
Why didn't you escalate the situation?
Why didn't the 5 of you take the island by force?
All right, well, Bligh.
How big is the how big is the crew of the Bounty?
It was like 25 or 26 people.
And he wanted them to
He wanted
open fire on the culture, like a whole community,
without really having a firm grasp on how large the island was, and
Right.
I don't know.
How many men did Fletcher have with him?
A few.
Because it was a
It
boat.
wasn't everybody. Like he didn't take everybody on
Let's
shore.
claim he's got a dozen men with him,
Yeah.
and they all have guns, which they probably don't, but they all have guns. They could maybe kill 12 people, and then the whole island just butchers them.
Yeah.
Because it takes like a minute to reload.
Yeah.
They're sailors,
Yeah.
not soldiers.
And meanwhile, they're Anyway.
They probably would have seen him raise the firearms and be like, "Nope, kill him."
we remember this one.
No. Heard about this. Not gonna get. Shoot me once. Shame on me. Shoot me twice. Also shame on me.
Okay, so it says, why didn't you shoot them? You told me not to shoot them. So then Captain Bligh says why you are a coward. You are a spineless coward. And if you're going to say this to a gentleman of nobility,
that's a duel.
And dueling was not allowed on the ship, unfortunately.
But if it had been,
not enough room on the ship.
Because Bligh is also lower echelon of the society too, right? He's a lower social standing.
Yeah. The only thing he's got going for him is his rank in the Navy.
So this is the inverse. He earned his place kind of thing, but he's not a he's not a landed peer. He's not a landed peer. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So
double whammy there.
Yeah. Fletcher said, "I'm going to my room. Fine." But that's where the conversation ends.
I got shot, and then you may as well have shot me.
Okay, so a couple of days later, 4 days later, Captain Bligh accuses Fletcher Christian of stealing coconuts, calls him a thief in front of everybody, calls him a thieving hound. Again, not something you call to somebody who is like a noble gentleman.
But also like renowned for being a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
The Tahitians love. He's literally loved worldwide.
Right. Yep. Everybody likes him. And he's calling him out and saying, you stole these coconuts. You are a thief. You are a scoundrel. And at this point, that had been the straw that broke Fletcher Christian's back. He had had enough. I have been insulted too many times. I don't even like
coconuts.
I don't even like coconuts.
I'm allergic.
Oh, something else that happened a while ago that I forgot to mention. Minor thing. Captain Bligh punished his crew members by making them eat rotten pumpkin instead of bread. He would take away their bread rations and give them the rotten pumpkin instead.
Oh. What? So now you got a bunch of sick crew members.
Yeah.
Because that's a great punishment.
So he started doing that.
And it's literally the poop deck.
Yeah. He started doing that after the cheese thing. And it just became like a recurring punishment. So the coconuts...
I'm assuming... so I was thinking coconut and pumpkin are pretty big, bulky things. But I assume it's just because they keep longer, right? They
Probably.
Long.
Pumpkins don't keep... Well, they do keep long. You can carve up a jack-o'-lantern and let it sit. As long as you don't break the husk, it's probably
that's
fine,
what I'm saying,
Yeah.
I was wondering, because it did seem like... Well, these seems like weird things to bring on a boat.
Well, the coconut they probably got from Tahiti. I bet they...
I don't know.
I'm just thinking space-wise.
Where are pumpkins naturally from?
Halloween Town.
Jack Skellington brings them.
So,
well, I just am thinking because the coconuts come from Tahiti, probably they resupplied while they were there.
Sure.
You always want to resupply it locally. You're not going to have
well,
it's going to be a 2-year voyage. It's only bring things to last for 2 years. That gives us hardtack and rocks. And
they didn't have any frozen pizzas yet. They didn't have. They didn't have the
canned goods.
Murray Calendar's pot pies yet.
Well, the extension cord didn't.
It didn't go that far. We need a 6 million foot long extension cord because it's going to drag the bottom of the ocean. Yeah.
All right, so overnight between April 27th and April 28th.
While Bligh's pouting in his room.
Yeah,
not Bligh. Well, they're both pouting in their room. Bligh's
pouting.
probably yelling and practicing his whipping.
Fletcher Christian was in the middle of a mental breakdown.
Oh.
He was pacing around the deck. He took like
a hug.
I don't remember what it's called. Like the sock full of cannonballs kind of a deal.
Is he walking around with this thing?
Around his neck? Like he's going to jump off the ship and he's going to go down. He's just going to, like, I've had it. I can't deal with this anymore. I'm just going to...
He snapped?
He snapped.
Yeah. Poor guy.
And,
well, he's been treated so nice the whole time, and now he's suddenly...
Everybody else likes him, but he's got this moral responsibility to follow this jerk, and this jerk is like, you suck, even though you almost died for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right.
Okay.
So he's contemplating jumping into Davy Jones's locker with a string of cannonballs around his neck. Another crew member named Steward goes up to him, and he's like, buddy, what's the matter?
Hi, nicest guy in the world. Why are you carrying cannonballs around your neck?
Remember Tahiti? Think about Tahiti.
We've all got Tahiti in our hearts.
Remember your wife.
We'll always have Tahiti.
Remember your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And your other wife. And the 6
and the one
kids
you probably have in
way.
England. So he's like, come on, guy. Like, what's the matter? Buck up. You know, it's not that bad. And Fletcher's like, it is that bad. I'm going to jump off this ship. And Steward says something that kind of goes whoop and flips a switch. He says, we're all behind you. You know, meaning,
whatever you do.
Yeah, that's how he interpreted it. But he probably just meant it as, we're here for you, pal.
Did he say, like, we're all brothers? And I was like, wait, my brother, remember what he said?
Mutiny is always an option.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So Fletcher Christian interprets this statement as they're all behind me. I can do whatever I want.
Sure.
I mean, probably.
Yeah. So
that's probably not even a wild assumption at that point.
He discards his string of cannonballs.
My toe.
Jesus, dude. Don't just throw those.
He gets his sword. He rounds up his buddies, like his closest buddies.
This is at night? Morning? Day?
Middle of the night, like early morning probably.
Okay.
So they're not everybody is supporting Fletcher at this point. Like everybody likes him.
Sure.
They're like, mutiny is like a hanging offense.
Yeah,
man.
half the people are more on the board of like I'd rather not be hanged.
Yeah.
I'd rather be alive.
Remember Tahiti?
They don't love Bly, but they don't want to get hanged.
They like being alive more than anything. But Fletcher still has like half of the crew who are like, we're behind you. We'll do anything with you. So he gets this half, like his supporters. They run around the ship and they relieve everybody else who's like manning the deck and everything.
So they're the only guys on duty.
Right. Then Fletcher goes down to Captain Bly's cabin and knock, opens the door and wakes him up with a sword in his face.
Ooh.
And says...
At his face, not like in his face.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
But like all up in his face. Not literally in his face.
Captain!
Have you ever had a neti pot? This is kind of like that, but with a sword.
It's a knifey pot.
So, wakes him up.
Morning.
Says, this is a mutiny. I'm in charge now. Something to that effect.
Look at me.
Yep.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah, but with a less accent.
Look at me. I am the captain now. Noble.
Ties him up behind his back. So walks him up on deck. He's only wearing his Captain Bly, only wearing his nightshirt. He's all tied up, and obviously, if you are a guy in charge of the ship, this is very humiliating.
Yes.
That's his point. He wants
probably still yelling at everybody.
Not a good look.
He's walking up deck, shouting murder, like murder, and nobody cares.
Yeah,
nobody likes you.
We know, buddy.
Murder. We got murder here.
Yep.
See, nobody cares. Stop.
What are you doing? Oh, yeah, no.
Don't put those cannonballs around his neck and have him suicide with his arms behind his back. Ah, it was a tragedy.
Yeah. So sad. So he's up on the deck. It's 5:15 in the morning. Captain Bly is like, come on, guys, we can talk about this.
Is he seriously trying to negotiate?
Yeah.
I would have thought he'd just be like, I will kill you all if you don't come in me now.
At some point, I
think he probably realized my hands are tied.
It's
I
the
can't
stages
do much.
of grief.
A quick head
He's
count.
negotiating now. He's like,
A quick head count of people who ran when you were saying murder. Who ran to help.
Yep. How many people helped me?
None.
Precisely 0. And half the crew want to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Time to rethink things.
New plan.
So,
maybe I shouldn't
Fletcher
have
Come on, Billy boy.
pumpkin thing so many times.
Fletcher and his supporters, they walk him into a lifeboat. He's also a gentleman, right? Fletcher Christian is an ultimate gentleman.
Yes.
He's not going to kill anybody. He's a gentleman, and he's a nice guy.
I feel like that might bite him in the butt.
It might. So he rounds up Bly and Bly's supporters, meaning the people who just don't support Fletcher, and then he puts them in a lifeboat with 5 days rations. There's like 11 of these guys with 5 days rations, puts them in a lifeboat, casts them out to sea in the middle of the South Pacific.
That's not nice.
You didn't kill him.
You didn't kill him.
But he's putting him in a very good position to die.
Right, and I think maybe that was his plan. I think he probably thought...
Could have dropped him on an island or something.
No, that'd be silly. What? No.
I
don't know.
That's what I would have. I would have sailed to an island. I wouldn't have let him keep the boat. And I would have thrown him on the island.
I imagine unless there's a place,
go shoot the natives.
If there's a place not a place to lock them up, that get them off the boat as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably be the best.
Because otherwise, he could lose support among his own guys.
You got momentum. Momentum.
Yep.
That's how you mutiny.
But still, I feel like that's not very gentlemanly. I think I'd rather just, you can kill me now rather than let me die slowly.
One thing I read said that he did ask to be killed, and Fletcher Christian said, I'm not going to kill you. I'm a gentleman. I would never kill a guy whose hands are tied behind his back.
Then I would have been like, well...
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Untie the knot and let's just do that.
I wasn't there.
I will passively aggressively kill you.
But then again, like you said, there are a lot of islands within rowing distance.
Yeah. Sure.
So if they really picked a direction and went, they could find something.
Yes, and that's... Right. Okay.
Shut up, Will.
They put him in the boat. They cast off the boat, and then they take all the breadfruit plants and they throw those off the side. And yeah,
why?
I don't know.
That's food.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
That's just like out of spite. You know what?
Yeah.
And these things are stupid.
It could have been.
Now,
it could have been just a spiteful thing.
I've not seen the movie or any of the things, but I have heard breadfruit as a plot point. There was literally no reason for them to throw it over.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they could have just kept it. They didn't
It's
have to
gonna
take it
grow
anywhere.
into something useful.
They could have just eaten it, but no, they said, we don't want your stinking breadfruit. This is blood breadfruit.
We don't
want this.
The meaning of it, the moral, instead of the
That's
actual.
a spite thing.
Yep.
You know what? And your whole mission's stupid too.
Look.
Yeah.
5 hours ago, I was gonna dunk myself in the ocean. Lots of things have changed. I didn't plan this out.
Why are you doing this? I don't know. Ask that steward guy.
I mean, it's not even. I did not tell him to mutiny. Okay.
For the record,
Stuart, you find out Stuart actually was on the lifeboat. Like, I did not suggest that. He's my friend, but I was like, no, mutiny. We were behind you as a friend. We didn't want you.
like we wanted to hug you and
we were behind you eating breadfruit. It was delicious.
It was delicious. And you were like, and also your breadfruit's stupid. They just throw it
Yep.
at Bly as he goes away.
Yep.
What you think of stupid breadfruit? And it's not like they need the space either because they have half the crew now.
Yeah.
So they have way more space. I'd be like,
they
we got breadfruit, we got space.
I don't know. I wasn't there. I
too bad.
wasn't there to make that.
Well, it's too bad we don't know because it does sound like that might be a big problem. But go on.
Okay, so they push out the boat. Bly and his friends are on this lifeboat with 5 days rations. They land on the island of I'm going to say it wrong. I didn't write it down. Tofua? That sounds right. Tofua. And
Tofua,
so they say, oh, here's an island. We can hang out here. And the native said, no, you're not. And I said, okay, you're right. We're not. So
can we have something from your tofu trees?
Yes.
So Bly's like, what do we do? And Bly, being an expert navigator.
But not an expert navigator of people.
No.
He's a terrible social navigator.
He says, I know where we can go. We can go to the Dutch colony of Timor, which is 3,600 miles west of here. With our lifeboat and our 5 days rations.
We got this.
Yep. And they did. They made it.
In 3,500 miles?
Yeah.
Did all of the crew
Everyone
make it?
except for the guy that was killed on Tofua by the natives lived.
Okay, so they did not ask Bly to leave. They straight up.
Yeah. It was more than a polite recommendation.
We talked to our neighbors that you suggested be killed by your buddy Christian, and we didn't like that, so we're going to kill you too. They all know how Bly... It's like even before he gets there, everyone knows how bad Bly is.
Bly took his... He was a really good sailor. He was a really good navigator. Not a good people person, but everything else...
If I'm in a boat with somebody, we're getting where we're going.
Right.
He's the boss.
And he kind of laid down the law and said, listen, we've got these... There's 10 of us. There's 5 days rations. I will tell you when you can eat. I'm going to get you guys to this place alive. Well, and they did.
And they did.
Sure
and
enough.
they did. They ended up eating like seagulls and stuff raw. They had to.
That's why I was asking how many of the crew got there. They didn't have to. They didn't resort to that.
But the fact that every single one of them made it, that's...
It wasn't a Donner Party situation.
Also a Donner Party. Also could be a Donner Party. Same thing happened.
But it wasn't.
Okay.
So they arrive on this Dutch island. The Dutch say, what's going on? But in a Dutch way.
Yeah.
I'm Dutch and I don't know what it sounds like. German-ish.
Wooden shoes sound different on the beach, though. So
they give Bly and his men a ride back to England.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep. Bly gets back in May of 1790. He shows up at home.
Happy.
He's a hero because he knows if the other mutineers get back here, they're gonna start telling people.
They're gonna say, "This is how bad this guy was."
So I'm gonna get my word out first. I'm gonna share my story first. So they'll have to top my story if they're gonna spread this around.
Yeah,
So he publishes a book.
So he
becomes a celebrity. He becomes incredibly famous and well respected.
Well, and he's also got these 10 guys that he saved going, this guy saved us.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for his leadership, we would all be dead.
Exactly. So he's more or less fine at this point.
A little angry, probably.
He gets promoted to captain in the Navy.
Nice.
He's living his life.
Yep.
Now, meanwhile, back with Fletcher Christian,
back on.
they're on the Bounty still. They say, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
We threw away the breadfruit. We shouldn't have done this.
Fletcher Christian says maybe we shouldn't go back to Tahiti because I think maybe England will know where to look for us. Like if Bligh beats us back home, he's going to say, last place I left them was in Tahiti. That's where England's going to look.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't stay here. Some of his supporters are like, we'd rather stay here if that's fine. And then Fletcher Christian is like, I guess. I can't stop you. In a free country, whatever.
We've learned how to mutiny. You want us to do it again? It was fun the first time.
Some of them go with Fletcher Christian. Some of them stay on Tahiti. The guys that go with Fletcher Christian also bring their Tahitian girlfriends.
Oh.
And some of their, like, gentleman friends from Tahiti.
They're buddies.
They're buddies.
Sure.
Buddies that they made.
Plus, they need more people to crew the ship.
I guess,
yeah.
They are losing them.
So Fletcher Christian is like, what to do with my new my new Tahitian friends, my Tahitian girlfriend, and all my cool friends.
I guess
Where do we
it's
go?
Polynesian, right? I think
It's
Oceania. It's Oceania. I know obviously it's all different cultures and stuff in there, but I feel like that's the broad, like, equivalent of saying European is Polynesian.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I know they call that Oceania, and they kicked around the idea of making it a continent, but you can't really because it's just
a bunch of islands. Can't be a continent.
It's too wet.
It's just
too wet. It's just one big
megapelago.
Fletcher Christian says, I know this island that is mischarted. They tried putting it on a map, but they didn't chart it correctly. Oh. So England doesn't really know it exists.
Secret
island.
They
think it exists.
They're like, it exists, but it's in the wrong spot.
Right.
Oh,
so he said, I know where this place is. I know where it really physically is.
Is that the island from Lost?
No.
Maybe. No, because we actually know. Well, how did he know where it was? Was he like he had privy access to like a book about it or something, or was he?
Well,
there
they've been
when
like in the area, like sailing.
So he's like, that was that island.
Yeah.
Nobody changed the chart. Future mutiny place.
Could be.
Future house.
Like a island speakeasy
it's
or
like,
something.
It's like when you spot like the thing at the store that you want to buy, and then you just move it to a different shelf so you can come back later with the right amount of money.
Yep.
I'm not saying I would do that, but I've
He said that with knowledge. He's done that.
What a scoundrel.
Or if you're like a realtor and you're like, yeah, I'm totally going to put this house up on the market. Honey,
I'm running out of time.
Sorry.
So Fletcher Christian navigates them to this island, which they call Pitcairn Island. And I looked this up.
Island?
Pitcairn, Pitcairn. I looked up why they named it that. I can't remember why.
A cairn is a pile of stones, and
they named it after a guy.
Oh.
They named it after somebody. But I don't remember who he was or what his significance was.
Well, you do that thing and I'll Google that.
So they land on Pitcairn. There's nobody there. It's just these people. England doesn't know this island exists.
Yep.
And that's it. And they stay there.
Roll credits.
Now, 1808.
Sequel.
In this time frame, the mutineers who had stayed on Tahiti, they did get found by the Royal Navy. The Royal Navy brought them back to court-martial them in England.
Fletcher told you.
Yep.
Smart guy.
Yep, he knew, and he was right.
Court-martialed?
They court-martialed them. But William Bligh was not there. He was on his second mission to bring breadfruit to the West Indies. Because he's like, I have unfinished business.
Did he learn and not beat his crew this? I'm assuming there was no second mutiny.
He made it. Like he
succeeded.
He finished his journey. But while he was gone, they had this hearing for these mutineers that were found on Tahiti. The mutineers that were brought back, they said, okay, yes, we did mutiny. We did do that. However, you would have done it too, and here is why.
Yes.
So the court heard their reasons. They said, you got a point. He was an asshole. We still have to hang you. But you're right, he was an asshole.
So they hanged these guys?
A couple of them were pardoned. A couple of them were hanged on a ship.
Die knowing that you were right. Bye.
I know. I wasn't there.
That sounds British Royal Navy.
Yeah. So
you're right, but also
Captain
we have
Bligh,
standards to maintain. We must maintain decorum, gentlemen.
Yep.
Hang them.
Captain Bligh gets back from his successful mission to the West Indies to bring breadfruit to Jamaica and all of that.
Guys, I can do it.
He's expecting a hero's welcome because when he left, he was cool and everybody liked him and thought he was awesome. But when he gets back, everybody's like,
So we found out you're a dick. What's this pumpkin thing we've heard about?
Yep.
Did he feed you guys rotten pumpkins while you're on the ship? No.
So the Royal Navy, he's like a tenured officer. He's a captain. They can't, for some reason, they don't get rid of him. They don't. Yeah. They don't strip him of his rank.
It would make it look bad too.
But they don't really know what to do with him, so they send him to Australia. which is what England did with people they didn't know what to do with. So they said, listen, we've got this place called Australia in the South Pacific. We hear you have great luck there. We're going to send you to Australia because we need somebody to be a governor of New South Wales.
What did they call that? Like exporting somebody? Maybe. Exportation, I think is what they called that when they kicked you out of the...
but that's where he went.
New South Wales?
New South Wales is a state in Australia.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's one of the bad ones either. I refer to anything inland Australia as bad area for humans.
Yeah, I think New South Wales is one of the
everything
nice
there
ones.
wants you to die.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
except for the Aborigines. The Aborigines like we're fine.
And then is that the end of his story? Does he know?
That's
I mean,
the end of
he lives out his life.
He lives out his life. I think he goes back to England at some point, but after he's done being he's fine. Everybody knows he's a jerk. He dies being known as a jerk. He doesn't really redeem himself, but he suffered no major consequences of his horrible actions. Okay. Now
he got rewarded. He became a governor. That's a promotion.
That's a promotion, but they sent him to Australia to do it.
Yeah. You're the commander in North Alaska. Your post has 6 people in it, and it's
good luck.
Always night.
Goodbye. 1808. There is an American seal hunting vessel that's cruising through the South Pacific.
A seal hunting vessel?
That's what it was.
They hated the Navy SEALs so much.
Yeah. It was called the Topaz. They make landfall on this mysterious island that nobody knows about.
Well, I'm sorry, where were they in general?
1808.
No, where?
Around a mysterious island that nobody knows about.
So in the south. South? Okay.
Yeah. And they find 3 guys that are speaking English. And they're like, hold on. Rewind, back up. Why are you speaking English? You live on this island, and yet you were speaking English.
This is like 10 years later, 9 years later?
1808 would be, like 10 years later
10
or
years
so.
later, right.
They said, funny you should ask. Come to our village. And they introduced these American sailors to the one remaining mutineer, whose name was Alexander something. I don't remember.
So the mutineers didn't last very long.
Well, he walks them through what happened. He says, we found this island. Here's, how we ended up here and why we stayed. And they said, well, great. Where is Fletcher Christian? And he says, he's dead. I'm the only one that's left. And I bet you're going to ask why. And here's why. It's because...
I like to imagine this is exactly how he spoke.
Yep.
I was right there. He's dead. I bet you're wondering why. I'll tell you why.
It's like Ben Gunn in Treasure Island. I've been living here in the leaves.
I'm going to tell you all.
I get to talk to new people.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm almost out of time.
No,
I saw you do that.
It doesn't change it.
It does.
So
he just speeds it up
he explains that when Fletcher Christian and all of his buddies got off of the ship, all of his Tahitian buddies and his white guy buddies, they said, how are we going to do this? What do we do? I know what we'll do. We'll split up all the property among the white guys.
Oh.
And these are Tahitian girlfriends and our Tahitian friends that were nothing but kind to us and nothing but nice and supportive.
No, forget them.
They're going to be our servants. And they're going to work for us.
Who was
Fletcher decided this?
Yeah. The nice guy. The charismatic, noble
nice
gentleman.
Until you're brown.
Yep.
According to the Survivor guy.
Yeah.
Hey, now, to be fair, Pope, was it Gregory the Ninth that we hate? Alexander the Ninth? One of the popes said, if they're not Christian, they're not people.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Well, either way, my point is,
this
is not necessarily. I mean, it could be true. We don't know.
This is one guy's account of it.
Well,
one guy
the
saying
results kind of speak for themselves.
There was eyewitnesses. Like, there was other people that backed him up. Yeah, that happened. I killed a guy. That kind of a deal.
Well,
so
we also
Tahitians
do
not
know
care
Fletcher can snap too. As well.
Yeah.
So these super nice people are pushed to their limit now because they're like, no, you're secondary citizens, even though you were super kind to us and nice to us, and some of you are the parents of our children.
Yep. The Tahitians did not care for that. They took that personally. So they killed them. The last mutineer, this Alexander guy whose last name I can't remember, he was just off that day. Like, he was just somewhere else. And he gets back.
Hey, guys.
It was like that.
I found some breadfruit in there.
And so
it washed up on shore in a little basket.
It's like that scene from Community where he walks into the room carrying pizza and everything's on fire.
Yeah.
Like that. I imagine it was like that.
Yep, just everything.
So yeah, Pitcairn is still there today.
So I'm sorry. So Alexander then
he just kind of walked in and was like, I had nothing to do with that.
I was cool with you guys. I think you're nice.
We're cool.
Does he go in and go, so you guys looking for a servant?
Maybe. I don't know.
I can farm.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Pitcairn Island is named for the 15-year-old midshipman who spotted Pitcairn Island originally during the first thing that saw it.
Got it.
They were like, well, you saw it, so you're
Okay.
On the crow's
I
nest.
knew it was named after a guy. I couldn't remember who it was.
Not this expedition, but it's like 1760s when they first saw it.
When they mischarted
and
it.
then mischarted it.
They also had a 15-year-old guy.
Yeah, Larry's like, it's over here. I'm gonna come back in 30 years on a ship called the Bounty. Alexander's real name was.
You got that spot on the map, right?
Yeah.
Please don't throw me overboard, mister.
I think it's right, Mr. Bly. I don't want to eat any more pumpkin.
It's got to be hard to draw a map on a moving boat.
I'm sure that's what it was. Yeah. I don't know. Pitcairn Island is still there today. There are 56 or 58 residents.
Oh.
They're all related to each other.
Is it an island nation? Or
they're independent. They would not be able to exist if it wasn't for the help of other countries.
I think they're part of the Commonwealth of England. Probably.
They survive on money from other places.
Do they have a hotel?
No. You can apply for immigration. It's a non-refundable $500 fee. They have turned every single application down.
What if I told them I was bringing breadfruit?
We don't have to go into it now because it would. If you have plans on monetizing this channel, I feel like the topic would get demonetized immediately if I tell you what happened on Pitcairn Island in the 90s.
We want to know. How do you get demonetized for telling the truth of things? Bad things.
It was bad. It was real bad. It was extremely bad. And
does it involve children?
Yes.
Okay. And families doing bad things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And the women, which is half of the population, like there was 32 eyewitness accounts and 32 like personal anecdotes of the horrible things that have happened by the other 32 people on the island. So anyway.
So a lot of abuse towards children
Fletcher
and
Christian
women.
had every opportunity to turn this into a golden utopia where there is no sexism, no racism. And he said, nope, I know what works for me. I am a white guy of noble birth. I know how to make this work in my favor. And it
because his family has
down the toilet.
His family has such a good history of that too. Because they lost everything in England due to the nobility and everything else. Yeah, that worked really, really well.
Right.
So he didn't like tyranny, and then he became a tyrant. That's wonderful.
Yeah, he was such a nice guy.
Now, wasn't there like a crisis when they first discovered these people, like that they were like not the best fed, and they were kind of isolated? I thought there was like something where they immediately had to start shipping aid, and then more people showed up at some point to like plus up the population. Didn't that happen over the course of its history?
It was later than this though. It was like 1800s.
Okay. Because they're like, we should check on those poor people.
Yeah. I mean, there was no education system. There was no central government. There was no oversight. It was just kind of these feral people who had no frame of reference for how to have a civilization.
Yeah. And they're all inbreeding now. And
Yep. Anyway, so that's nice.
Yeah, so Pitcairn Island is
that was
a
Mutiny
paradise.
On the Bounty.
You could have had a paradise.
You could have had a paradise.
You could have had a second. You could have had a second Tahiti.
I know I'm in the minority in this room, but I feel very comfortable saying that's what happens when you leave the white guys in charge.
Oh yeah.
That's literally everything we've ever discussed. That is what we've discussed. You're not the minority. Every time we talk about it in history, we're like, oh man. That
was us again.
Every time, like I said, every time they show up where they weren't originally.
Yep.
I mean, they get jobs done.
Well, it's not always good.
I didn't say that. Yeah. They do get things done.
They get things done. You got it. Credit that. There's stuff happens.
Well, I have to say, there was far less death than I thought there would be involved in this story.
Yeah, just a couple.
And a far less, like, both the protagonists, I guess they're both kind of antagonists and protagonists.
Yeah, they are the protagonists, but they both not good guys.
Got to live their lives to a normal.
Yeah, they both got what they wanted to do somehow.
Christian got murdered for being a jerk. He's the guy who's not the tyrant.
They flip roles.
And he gets mutiny.
It's sad when you go through 90% of the story saying, he was such a nice guy.
He was such a nice guy. What happened? Well, it was the syphilis. The late onset of syphilis.
Who knows? I don't know.
Boat life's gonna crack you.
I was thinking maybe there'd be a fever that their bodies aren't used to because of the temperature or something. But nope, they were fine for a year and change, and then all of a sudden dead.
Yep.
Like all the sailing, they were fine. No dysentery, no, not missing all the teeth.
I mean, it wasn't the first time these people had ever been on a boat. Like,
right.
They knew what they were doing.
And they're in paradise.
Yeah.
These people don't have to.
They all could have mutinied on the beach.
Yep.
They could have said, no, we'd rather not get on the boat.
Yep.
You know, but
and then they could have buried Bligh up to his neck in sand and
just
show up
poked him.
later. Why aren't you guys here? Boat sank.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing. Oh,
Yeah, what happened
I
to the boat?
forgot.
No,
Yeah.
you're fine. It's fine.
When they got to Pitcairn, Fletcher Christian said, all right, now let's set the boat on fire. And then the other guys that were with him were like, but what if we want to leave? And Fletcher Christian said, who said anything about leaving?
So they set the boat on
So
fire?
they set the boat on fire.
Oh, okay.
I feel like they could have maybe taken the boat apart and used it to build shelters.
Just set it on fire.
Set it on fire.
So apparently
Something
the people
happened,
that still live
okay.
on Pitcairn Island, they still, to this day, have an annual...
Setting the boat on fire?
They build an effigy out of the bounty, like, that's supposed to represent the bounty, and they set it on fire in Bounty Bay every year on the anniversary of the
All
bounty.
56 people.
Yep. Woo! Yeah.
Hey, man,
You
you
managed
celebrate
to make that sound like the most inbred.
Well...
But that's not wrong.
Well, that was Mutiny on the Bounty.
And its long-term consequences. So 2 weeks in a row, we've learned betrayal doesn't pan out.
Not
Because
really.
last week, or not last week, because
It
technically
could
this is the
if
week
you
later.
just had like good
when we talked
intentions,
about-
but there was no good intentions here. It was
That's
just shitty intentions.
Yep. When we talked about Lu Bu, the Chinese general, he
Sure.
just kept betraying everybody.
Oh, yeah. Don't betray people.
Don't betray people.
Just be friends.
It doesn't
Person
work
of your
out well.
word.
And if you're the nicest guy, stay the
Just
nicest guy. Even after you get rid of the bad officer,
Just keep being nice.
don't stop being nice.
Yeah.
Learn from the bad
'Cause
officer.
How many times did we say he was so nice during this whole thing? So many times.
How many stories are there like that, though, where the sociopath, they're like, he was such a good neighbor, he
That's
was
true.
the nicest guy. I don't know why he had those 17
No one would
bodies
have
in
ever
his basement.
suspected a thing.
It was the Dahmer party. All right. Next week, we will be discussing Kublai Khan becoming the Mongol emperor.
Yes, sir.
In 1260. That'll be fun. Right?
Yeah,
Okay,
Kublai
good.
Khan's a very interesting guy.
I'd like to thank our special guest, Erica.
Thank you, Erica.
Oh.
We're going to have you back again. This was fun.
When we have Erica back, we may have a different
event.
arrangement so that she's not a little teeny person on our shoulders. But
She's actually only slightly
normally sized person.
taller than that. Now, Mike, you're cheating because you look way
Now
taller.
I look bigger.
But if other people have suggestions for events in history that they'd really feel passionately talking about, let us know. Find us, put it in the comments. If you are on the face space with Mike or me, well, I don't face space, but if you face space with Mike, Facebook, whatever, after you like and subscribe and follow all our videos, then let us know. Like, this is a really cool thing, and we like having
That's what I
guests.
did.
That's what
There
she
we
said.
go.
She told me this is a really cool thing and you should plan it, and I specifically wrote it in my diary.
Boom.
Dear diary.
Dear diary, Erica will take your job for the day so you can do the mic job.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week with This Week in History. And say goodbye, Erica.
Bye, Erica.